Hey everyone, it's Jake Clark and John Schneider from Fargo 3D Printing. Week 4 or podcast 4 of our podcast. So today what we're going to talk about is an advertisement that we're going to be in for the Inside 3D Printing show. We're going to talk about something cool we've 3D printed. Well, a couple things that we've 3D printed that we think are cool. We're going to talk a little bit about printing on the CubePro and the CubePro in general. And then that's what we'll have time to cover today. So advertisement, John, what are we going to be in?
Yeah, so this is the 3D Printing and Additive Manufacturing Journal. So it's a peer-reviewed journal. So it's a pretty interesting publication. Goes really in depth in a lot of 3D printing research. Just an example of one of the article titles to give you a feel for it: Water-based robotic fabrication, large-scale additive manufacturing of functionally graded hydrogel composites via multi-chamber extrusion. So this is some pretty heavy stuff. We are just on the inside front cover. So if you have a copy of this, definitely take a look at that. This is also going to be at the Inside 3D Printing Expo. I believe it's going to be handed out to every attendee there. So that'll be good, getting more people involved with that journal, and just the Inside 3D Printing Expo in general is going to be pretty exciting. We're leaving for that next Wednesday, the 15th, bright and early in the morning.
6 a.m.
I know, it's coming up. So on our way down there, and we're driving, if you can believe that. So taking the Ford Escape and the enclosed trailer so we can have our booth set up down there. But it should be a pretty fun event. It's going to be our first time going to California. I believe we're actually going to make a stop in Colorado to tour the LulzBot facility on our way down there. So that's in Loveland, Colorado.
Pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, so that should be good. Spending some time then driving across the desert to get to California, and I'm sure it'll be a very fascinating drive.
Yeah, I mean, the mountains will be nice to drive through. So it's not like driving over, between here and Bismarck where it's just flat.
Right. So one of the things that we're going to be bringing out to California is there's going to be an exciting LulzBot announcement out there. That's the only thing that I can tell you. So check out the booth if you're in the area. And we're also going to be bringing our CubePro out there. So this is a printer that's been pretty popular at the last couple of shows that we've gone to. So the CubePro is one of the newer versions, or it is the newest version of the desktop printer, the Cube. Well, actually, I need to take that back. The new version of the Cube is the Cube 3. The Cube Pro is sort of the next level version. This is the new version of the Cube X. So the last generation, the Cube X, not the greatest machine. Not the greatest machine. It had a lot of room for growth, and I'm very happy to say that the CubePro has done a lot of that growing.
Yes.
So a lot of the issues that were going on with the slicer and just with having the bed level and the enclosure, a lot of those have been fixed. So the CubePro's really nice. We're getting a lot of good quality prints off of it. We just started printing using PLA. The first material that we started using was ABS. And ABS printed well on there, but it had some of the issues that ABS has, just some of the warping and curling on larger prints. PLA doesn't really have those issues, so we've gotten some nice prints to come off of there. PLA, when it's printing, it doesn't heat up the build chamber at all, since PLA likes to be cooler as it's printing. So some of the cooler things that we've printed on the CubePro. So this is an interesting planter, and I'm going to see if we can get the Thingiverse link for this in the show notes. So I'll try and remember to do that. So I only know a little bit about this plant. The guy who has this plant that's in there, he's explained it. It has something to do with it affixes nitrogen, and that's all I know. I'm not a plant guy.
I don't know either. It hangs upside down, so we actually have it upside down right now. It's supposed to be actually turned so that the plant grows on the bottom. We actually have some hanging on our window. So
yeah, so we'll see if we can get a picture of that. Maybe have that somewhere in the show notes as well. So on top of that, we do have the very fancy chess set. One of the first things I think people started printing with their desktop 3D printers were chess pieces. So you're able to really print as many chess pieces as you want. And this has a cool design where it's very lightweight, doesn't use too much material, and it has this spiraling design. So I think we're also going to see if we can throw that in the show notes as well.
And we're going to spend the next hour playing chess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the CubePro has been really fun to work with. We have a duo, so we have dual extrusion, so we're printing in ABS and PLA. We printed the raft in ABS, so that was actually really helpful in separating the PLA architecture building that we've been printing away from the raft, where sometimes you have the raft really adhere to the build where it didn't happen, which was really nice with that. We are still waiting on our ultrasonic support bath to do the soluble support solutions with the ABS and PLA. Once we get that, we'll give you guys more info on that. But
yeah, so the way that works, what you would do is you would print your actual model in ABS and then use the support or do the support structure in PLA. Then it's a what's it called? It's basically an acid bath that you put into the ultrasonic tank. Then the ultrasonic tank runs, and that will dissolve the PLA, but it'll leave the ABS intact. So that's how that works.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to play with that and see how well that works compared to, let's say, a MakerBot Rep 2, where you're printing in ABS and you have high-impact polystyrene or HIPS as the dissolvable support structure, and then you actually use delimonene instead of more of like a Drano or something along those lines, or something soda.
Caustic soda, that's what it's called. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to compare the two and how they work. So, seeing that will be pretty interesting. But
yeah. And like Jake was talking about with the raft, another thing is when you're printing your model in ABS and your supports in PLA, or vice versa, the ABS peels away more cleanly from the PLA than if you were printing in ABS and having your supports in ABS, because otherwise it just starts to melt together a little bit too much.
Yeah. Well, we got a little bit of a shorter podcast this week, so with that, today for the T-shirt contest, I'm wearing an NDSU Bison. So
Bison what?
Bison football.
Okay.
It's Bison football.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Saturday, is Bison football day, so I don't know who they're playing, but it's their homecoming, so I know you're going to be attending. Yep. I'm going to be in the shop, so I'm going to see if I can get you to stay in the shop as well. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not very likely.
But, so they're playing. It's going to be great to see their homecoming. I went to one of their first home games. It was great down in the student section. But so they're entered in. Ben Bernard over at the architecture department. We're going to give a shout out to him. We'll throw your name in there for the free filament this month. So that's who we had as our T-shirt contest this week. Like I said, if you want to enter our T-shirt contest, I'm going to be wearing one each podcast. They get entered into a free spool of filament for the month. Just send it to our address. We'll throw it up online here, but it's 3041 and a half, like the fraction, Fargo Main Avenue, Fargo, North Dakota, 58103. And put a note in there where you're from, what you do. Make sure that it's not vulgar or anything for the T-shirt, and I'll wear it on our next podcast. So
on behalf of Jake Clark and me, John Schneider, thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more about us, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks again. Bye.
All right, thanks. Oh, boy.